Alrighty, so we are back with the third episode. So first things first, just for you all to know, I'm treating this as if it was a client that would be paying for like live edits, like done with you edits. So just taking you along the way with me. For people who are tuning into this as the first episode, we've been through 2 episodes already. Basically, I found a random Upwork job. I picked through, I think it was 2 or 3, and found one with a brief that was sufficient enough to actually build something out. So here's where literally I've extracted the notes from it. So what we've done so far is the lead processing, the manager reminders, and we're up to the automatic task creation. So what have we done before? When a deal moves to preparation, create a predefined checklist of tasks. So we've done that. Let's just jump into a quick refresher. Alrighty, so let's jump into here. So far we've got 3 boards. I think we might be looking at the onboarding. When a deal moves to preparation, create, okay. Right. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. When a deal moves to preparation. Okay, I think what we've done here is closed 1, move it down and then create it into onboarding. The reason why I've done this, and I've sort of veered off the path a little bit, is purely through assumption, through experience, not being able to actually talk with the client. It would be interesting if I actually sent this to the actual listing. I've been thinking about that, but I actually don't have space for more business. But it would be quite funny to see what they say. When a deal moves to preparation, create a predefined checklist. So I know I repeat things a lot, but I need to do it to get it into my brain because everything is literally created on the spot. So a lot of creative work, surprisingly. I believe it is this. So when a CRM is closed by the salesperson, it goes down to close 1, then it goes to onboarding. So onboarding is my version of preparation. Once it comes to onboarding, it shall create 3 or a predefined task list, which is there. So we cross that off. When a deal moves to active project, create subtasks, contract signing, materials, collection, project launch. So let's think about this for a second. So from onboarding to active project, I still don't know what this company does. Create subtasks where you contract sign, materials, collection, project launch. Why do I feel this is still onboarding? It's not so much onboarding of the client, but onboarding of the project. Okay, because this would have like particular assets in terms of, I guess getting things started with the client. This is still feels like in the same realm. The only thing different would be project launch. So when a deal moves to active project, create subtasks for contract signing, materials collection, so asset collection, and project launch. So contract signing would something be like a e-signature platform, DocuSign, whatever you want to call it. Material collection would be like logos, logins, whatever you need. And project launch will be different. It's safe to say that this would still be into the onboarding that we've created. I would say this is a different set of materials that we need. Because prior to project launch, well, look, it depends on what type of business this is. Okay, let's keep reading on a little bit to get some insight. So for subscription clients, automatically create monthly recurring tasks, reports, content, meetings. Okay, this is a little telltale sign that they're content-based business. What sort of content? I'm not entirely sure. But I'm getting reports, content, and meetings. I might guess this could be content creation, digital marketing, something in that realm. Let's look here. No activity for more than due on the... Okay, this is coming back to the CRM. When a client confirmation is received, when all subtasks are completed, move the deal to completed. When no activity on a deal for more 30 days, that looks like CRM to me. When client confirmation is received, move to the next stage automatically. That's still CRM. When all subtasks are completed, move a deal to completed. This feels like CRM. This is definitely from task creation. But why are we still in deals? Have I confused this with onboarding? Okay, let's keep going through. Well, this whole thing actually is a CRM job, so maybe I've confused this. That's okay, not a big deal, because we've got the fundamentals of what needs to happen. Okay, let's pretend this is all CRM. I think I went ahead of myself last session. And I'm seeing the nature of me being confused going to be a very repeated topic throughout this build, but hey, at least I'm showcasing things you can actually do. It's weird because it's confusing, like project launch. Why is project launch within the CRM? Unless it's like a project management thing, then that makes sense. I'm questioning whether I'm stupid or this person has an unclear brief. As far as I know, CRM is customer relationship manager. Whether it's a sales thing, and if it is a sales thing, then project shouldn't be launched. Anyways, I'm not gonna dwindle into that because there's so many things I can say, and it's a one-sided conversation, so it's not really fair for the other party, whoever they are. Okay, 7 days before subscription end day. So there's a subscription-based business. Send a reminder to the manager to create a renewal task. Automatically generate monthly recurring tasks for subscription clients. So there's something that they're doing on a monthly basis. Log all calls in the client's deal card. Missed call. Okay, I think it's starting to make sense now. Incoming message from the client notifying. Message without a reply for more than X hours. Send a reminder. Automatically fill in lead source field when integrated, will require manual selection if not automated. Collect funnel statistics. For some reason, I'm thinking they should be using GHL, and if they use GHL, then all of this would be inside it. The fact that they want to venture out to Monday to build all of this, well, the only difference would be what it will turn out to be in the end. If the deal amount exceeds set threshold, automatically tag as VIP, notify the supervisor if a client. Okay. When deal is closed one, automatically create a class. Why do I feel like this is repeating? When a deal is closed one, automatically create a task to request client feedback. 30 days after project completion, send a reminder for the follow-up project. I thought this might be like a 5-episode freaking binge, but now reviewing things, it's actually not as complex as I thought, even though initially it did seem quite... This was probably the trickiest part, dealing with the time stuff. I think we've solved that. Okay. So not thinking into it too much. Creating subtasks. I mean, is there any value in showing you guys again on what I've created here? Not so much. I wonder if we can skip a couple things. For the sake of not repeating it. I mean, you guys already watched it, so what's the point of repeating it, right? Unless I'm doing something different. The only thing I would do different is contract signing. I mean, they're just listing a bunch of tasks to do, right? And then you check them off. So it's pretty much that. Now, really what I would have suggested to the client is, hey, you've got a contract signing platform. Why don't we automate that instead? So rather than creating a task for staff to do, it should just automatically send that out based on the collection of materials or asset collection, like logos, emails, like everything, right? You will have a contact email at that point because this lead has already been closed won. So at that point, you already have data that you can push forward to contract signing. Okay, for subscription clients, automatically create monthly recurring tasks, reports, content. Okay, this I can show. I think we're going to skip a little bit because this will be a boring ass 5 episodes. So let's see if we can cap this episode today. So what are we looking at for time? 3:47. Everyone that's watching, yes, it does look wild that I work throughout the night, but it's purely because I work with clients in Australia and I'm currently living in Italy, which is pretty crazy. But it is what it is. And I have some clients in America as well. So I'm all over the joint in terms of time. But hey, I'm alive. I'm doing good. We're making content. Happy days. So yeah, let's look at this. So I'm not going to follow the structure anymore because I'm realizing now that I will come into a lot of questions that'll make me confused, and I'll just try to design it the way that I want it. And I've already rambled on for about 10 minutes just complaining about shit. So let's just move forward and actually look at elements where I can actually showcase different things rather than trying to complete the build. I think for the next run, perhaps I might get in touch with the actual client and then actually, I don't know, maybe like a pro bono or something, if it's like nothing too crazy, where I can actually record a session with the client and actually go through all the details. I think one part of it that's missing in, showcasing what low-code dev would actually do is actually communicate with the clients. I think that's the most important part because that will appeal to everyone who is actually in dev right now, who has the skill set, but they don't necessarily have the business acumen or like the sales mindset in terms of how to navigate situations with clients, right? Because a lot of you guys are probably bidding for jobs online and not knowing how to actually communicate with clients. Or maybe your, English isn't your first language, but you've got the skill set, but you just don't know how to close clients, right? Whatever it is, like I've become more of like exposed to, I guess, global talent in a sense, and dealing with clients on a global sense, and it's sort of opened up my mind in terms of, just being in the little Australian bubble and dealing with Australian clients only. So anyways, let's continue. So automatically create monthly recurring tasks, reports, content, meetings. So what I want to do is, let's say John Smith, right? He came through as a lead, we called him up, blah, blah, blah. It was all good. He became a customer. Now, from CRM, close one, onboarding was August 14th. So I'm assuming, and I'm trusting, that the staff will get their shit together and everything will be done pretty much on this day, right? Which is, depends, right? Sometimes it won't be. But let's say, in this case, that it is. 2 roads, right? If it is, I'm going to use the August 14th timestamp. If it isn't, then it would be something like, if all statuses are done, then create like a task done status, and then I'll do the monthly recurring on that, which requires a little bit of GraphQL. So I'm not going to dive into that. In a future episode, when we get a little bit more advanced, I will. But for now, let's see if we can just do a monthly recurring on this. So let's quickly have a look again. So we're skipping this one. Right, let's just put a note here where I'll just write skipped. And then let's strike that one out. For subscription clients, automatically create monthly recurring tasks. So here, right, obviously it's telling me that there is non-subscription clients. So I would assume they're one-offs for like a month's worth of service, I'm guessing. Otherwise, if they are, but there was no mention in lead processing to actually determine what is or what isn't a subscription client. So I'm going to, again, safely assume, I'm just going to assume that we are dealing with subscription clients. Again, this is the framework that you can present as a proof of concept if you do have a client. And you just want to showcase a demo. Like I don't really showcase demos, to be honest. It's usually I have a chat with the client and they just trust in me to do the work. I don't really showcase demos in the sense of creating something for them. Rather, when the NDAs are signed, I can quickly show them glimpses of like past work or replicated work where it's like copies of what I've done. So what can I do here? So I'm thinking when this date arrives, it would be here, right? So this will be subscription renewal date. And say, for example, when an item is created, okay, we got to go back 1 second. We got to go back to here and then address this. So going back to when it's closed one, create an item, and then this pulls the date. Okay, so how the heck did I pull the date here? This is creation log. Yeah, alrighty. So then I just make a new one. So when an item is created, create a sub item. Set date, subscription renewal date to today. So I just stuck it onto what we had before. So that was creating the task list plus subscription date renewal. Pro tip, which I barely do, which I do actually do when it's real work, put a description for everything. Because later you'll just have a stack of these and you won't know what is what. So basically what that does is that should technically set it to August 14th, right? When a new item is created, create 3 of these and then also set that date to today. Well, it was created on that date, so it would technically create it for August 14th. Now, what I'm going to do here is when date arrives, so let's say their work hours is 9 a.m. on the dot. I want it to push the date, push this by 1 month. So that goes into the next month, right? And then create sub item, which will be task. Let's go new task 1. New task 2. And then new task 3. So to explain that again, when the subscription renewal date arrives at 9 o'clock in the morning, push the date by 1 month. So then it'll have another opportunity to arrive again at 9 o'clock at the next month and then create these 3 items. I don't know exactly what they need for this, but let's say task 1, 2, and 3 is reports, content, and meetings, right? That's pretty much done. So nice and simple. Save. Let's move on to the next one. No activity on the deal. So we're tracking back here for more than 30 days, change status to closed, no response. So there is something in here which I used to make before, which was like an activity. And then at some point it was actually created as, I think it was this. Settings. Well, that's just a date. I made something called last activity, and then a couple of months later, there you go. this arrived. So if I go test, that should change to just now. Okay, good. Perfect. So no need to create something fancy like I used to before. This is already included Monday. Now it's saying, I wonder if we can do that. So no activity on the deal for more than 30 days. Change status to close response. I wonder. I've always seen it, but I've never used it. Yeah. So I don't think we can do this, but let's explore. Let's explore. Yeah, I don't think we can. Or if we could, that would have been too easy, right? So let's create one instead. So because we're using sub-item, activity can only occur here. So that means if I create my own last activity date, and then I create an automation when it would be sub-item created. It would be set date, last activity to today. Basically creating the same feature, but now it's usable because it is an actual date field, not the last activity feature. So if I do test, that should then, bada bing, August 21. So what I can do then is when no activity on the deal for more than 30 days. It's not a when date arrives, it's when a date has passed. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Okay, what I am going to do, but hang on a sec. There's a couple of things I have to add to this, which I'll show you in a second. So this is last activity, right? And I'll create another one. Yeah, I'll create another one. Just my mind is... So this is something that you would like hide from the clients. And then this would have the same thing, and then set date 30 days to the date. Then push this by 1 month update. So then if we test this again, I'm going to get rid of that just so we can see it again. Nicely done. So this should go August 21, and that should be the next month. Automation failed to run. Let's turn off that webhook. I don't even remember what that webhook is. And I don't remember what that webhook is because I didn't label it. See, that's why it's important to label people. Okay, there's 2 there. Yeah, these were supposed to be deleted from the other board, but they're still remaining. I could have sworn I deleted it from the other board because this doesn't... Oh, it does have... Wait. Turn that back on. I thought we were in the other board, but we're not. My bad. Let's just turn that back on. Why it failed? I'm not entirely sure just yet. But anyways, why did this not come through? Okay, when a sub item is created, then set last activity to today. That worked. Then set this to today. That didn't work. Then push this by 1 month. Update. Let's try that again. Get rid of that. Test. And then that's the webhook one. Now why didn't this run? Let me hit refresh. It did. Okay, cool. Had my doubts. So that's September 21. Now we can say that if this is not closed won, so let's say awaiting client response, it's been 30 days, then change it to, what was it? Closed no response. Yeah, shouldn't be closing it after 30 days, but hey. To be honest, this is a little bit weak in terms of like the sales teams that I've dealt with. There should be like a consistent communications thing where you should technically appear. Like if it's 30 days and nobody's attended to it, depending on how you're getting your leads, like if you've done a wide casted setup where you're grabbing a lot of relevant and irrelevant leads, okay, this might make sense. But why are you grabbing those leads in the first place? If it's more targeted in a sense where these are all interested leads, then I personally wouldn't do this myself. But fortunately for the nature of my business, I don't actually do a lot of sales and marketing. So yeah, but anyways, in the case that you do and they want this, let's just not complain about stuff and let's just do it. Create an automation when this date arrives at, let's say, 9 o'clock, then and status is this, then change the status to close, no response. There you go. So, bug fixing. Let's check why that sub item didn't go off. Like, what do we have here that didn't go off? Deadline processor, sub item task, deadline process. It's off. That's why it's not running. Or why is it off? Right. But why is this off? Send in Gmail because I didn't finish it. Right, I must have done that for, we were just doing demos. So I'll leave that there. I'll turn the Zap off. But this was basically for attendance, like lead attendance within 15, 30 and 60 minutes. So let's just turn that off for now. But what I will do is I'll actually give it a name. Now where the heck is it? And today I've zoomed everything into 150. I'm looking at the wrong board. Zoomed everything in, so it's probably nicer to look at today. Zap, timer, lead, attendance. What did I call it here? Let's call it the same thing. What the heck? Whoa, what happened there? Okay. Alrighty. Usually I like to name it the same thing as my zaps, so when you do refer to it, it's a lot easier to identify. I wish these were longer because some of these names can get quite crazy. Okay, I am pretty chill with that. Let's move on to the next one. Wow, it took me so long to do the ones before, and these ones are quite quick, so that's good. When client confirmation is received, move to the next stage automatically. I don't have stages, my brother. when client confirmation is received, so I'm assuming we're going back to CRM. So essentially what I would have done is these would correlate what happens to this. So this one's an easy one. I think we've already set up one version of it, so I'm not going to go into detail. So essentially, if it is closed one, then it'll make this closed one. So it would be a matter of repeating that. So let's see, if lead phase changes to close one, that's the top one. Yeah, here, right? It would be a duplication of this. So say, for example, we have more of these, right? I don't know the details of the client, but say there's more, or there's like objections or whatever it is, right? Let's say it is an objection, and we'll have an objection one. If it turns into objection, there's a lead phase turns into objection, right? It's basically duplicating the same thing pretty much. Well, depends. It depends on their operations procedure, like how they determine what phases they have and how each status affects what phases they belong to. So I would say let's skip this because it's pretty much done and I don't have the information. So I'm not going to show you guys, as that's just a waste of bloody time, because whoever's been watching, I mean, it's already been 2 freaking long ass hours of watching, which I hope was bingeable. But this episode, it feels like we're going to skip a lot of stuff because it's pretty much already been done. When all subtasks are completed, move the deal to completed. Well, we kind of have this already, right? But we're doing it a different way because we're doing it on closed one. But the confusing thing is they're saying subtasks, which I did the sub items myself because I'm replicating a CRM that I built before. So I would say this is already done by default. But again, I'm just going to write skip so I noted that it was skipped. Well, that should have been another episode in itself if it was something. 7 days before subscription end date, send a reminder to the manager and create a new renewal task. 7 days prior. Okay, cool. So because we have months 28, 30, 31, this one is going to be a little bit more tricky to get it right, which we'll jump into Zapier. So 7 days before subscription end date, send a reminder to the manager, create a renewal task. But how long are your bloody subscriptions, my brother? Automatically generate monthly recurring tasks for subscription clients. Didn't we already do this? Yeah, we did. This guy's bloody cuckoo. Okay. Skipped. Maybe this wasn't the best job to look at. 7 days before subscription end date, send a reminder. Again, we're doing days here, so let's have a look again. I guess it's somewhat in this onboarding setup. So we've got a renewal date, but we don't have an end date. So let's just say this is subscription start date, which is actually a creation log, which is actually the day that they are closed one. Probably not accurate. But hey, I'm already complaining a lot about this. There's so much missing details. Well, let's say this is 12 months, 6 months, and let's do a 3 months. Right, and I'll show you how we can do this. Subscription renewal date would be, hang on a sec. If renewal date is 30 days, what am I missing here? No activity on the deal. Where's the renewal one? Did I write renewal and it wasn't supposed to be renewal? When a deal moves to prep, yeah, we did that. Active project, create, yeah, we did that. What did create monthly recurring tasks? Oh, right. I did name it wrong. Next, let's call this next month service, right? And then we hide that from the client, and then we create a new one, which would be a date field, and this would be subscription renewal date, right? And then this technically has to carry over from the CRM. So in CRM, somewhere here, I mean, technically we can put the product here. So I'm just thinking, well, it can either be here or it can be here. Let's say, no, we're not going to put it here because there's only one product, otherwise we'll have like so many different products. So I'm now going to put my own flair into this, just to fill the gaps in terms of the scope. 12-month subscription. And then we'll do a 6, and then we'll do a 3. And then there could be other stuff, but let's just say it's that, right? Then we would have to update this to carry over. So where is it? When this one here, when it's lead phase, close 1, then move item to close 1, then create an item in onboarding, which will now have a subscription pack would be the products. Something like that, right? So when we do have a closed one, it'll carry over this over to here. I know I call it different. It could be called product, whatever it is, right? You get the idea. So if I then change this to Bondsmith, and let's pretend I did this again, just to demonstrate for the new watchers. That goes into there. Let's get rid of that. So we'll just disappear that. And then this comes into here. Bondsmith comes in with a 12-month. And then we go, oh, we can have an activate project. What does that do? I don't even remember. Interesting. What does activate? Okay, we're going to diverge a little bit. Oh, it does nothing. Okay, this could be interesting because that could technically be subscription start date because they have to do those 3 tasks. Yeah, I think that should be that. Anyways, that would be a better setup, but if I keep thinking this way, eventually I'm just going to turn this into my own bloody CRM. Okay, so let's follow it. Otherwise, I will go into a rabbit hole and develop something that I'll never use for everybody else to look at, which would be useful for you guys actually. But for me, I'll probably never use it. Okay, so, right. So that's come in, that's given me the 12-month subscription pack. So what I would do here is I would, when item is created and status is 12 months, then set date this to today, then push date by 12 months. Then technically it'll be 12 months from now. There will be a reminder. So where are we? Let's just change a few of those to done. so I don't get clicking around. So I know this says 7 days before end date, which, let's have a think. Because I know Monday you can't go reverse, you can go forward. So send a reminder to the manager and create a new renewal. Okay. Let's see if we can do this on Monday now, because I haven't tested this in a long time. Okay, so that's their renewal date. We can leave that there, but this is something I would lock down. Right. And before we get into the next one, let's do another date where it is a renewal reminder date. So technically this should be 7 days before. I think this is important because we're trying to go reverse from, I wonder, because it's a push date and you can't really go minus. You can. Interesting. That's new. So then that solves a lot of problems. Set date, renewal reminder date to today. Yeah, and then push renewal reminder by 12 months. Set, and then push, or really it should be pull. I wonder if this works. This would be great if it does. Minus 7 days. Create. No freaking way. That was never a thing before. Good to know. Okay, let's try that out. So let's get rid of this. Goodbye, Bon. And let's try this again. So we go that. Okie dokie. Then we wait over at this side. Waiting. And then Bond comes in with a 12-month subscription pack. And then we should get the new dates, which is the next month's service to create the new tasks. And then we should get this and then this. But it's not here, so let's refresh. It's still not here. I wonder why Monday's been a little bit laggy lately. What's going on, Monday? Hello? Okay, whilst we wait for that to populate through, which is strange because it's taking quite some time. Let's just check that again. Run history. No automations run yet. Oh, it's impossible because it technically ran for this next month's service, unless that's different. Okay. Is 12 months. Did it not pick it up in time? Or it said no automation ran, so it probably didn't pick it up in time. I mean, item is created only if subscription pack is 12 months. It is 12 months. What did I do wrong here? Let's have a look. Yeah. And it's making a new item from the other side. And then it should do all of that. Okay. Why don't I change this to... crap. I'm going to change this to this, because that's what I like. Then I'm going to have to make this all over again. Set date. This. Set date. This. Push date. This. Push date. I'm doing it in a different order now, but it's the same thing. And then push date. -7 days. So now I don't have to like go back and recreate. This will be technically better, as what I mentioned before, in terms of setting this up correctly. So August 21, that didn't work. What did it even do? Oh, wait. I had to wait for it to update. Because it created the 12-month first, and then it rolled back to 7, and that looks right. August 21. 21 minus 7 is 14. Okay, so we're in the clear there. That's good. Good on you, Monday, for updating that. Fantastic. Maybe it was always there and I never knew. I think one thing that's really good for me in terms of creating this content is I'm going back to the basics and actually checking out the updates, which I barely do because I always I always just automatically go to Zapier and just deal with everything in there. Log all calls in the client's deal card. Yeah, we kind of got that already with our subtasks. So when I did mention in the first episode that we're going to be dealing with cards, I didn't actually want to get into it because I don't really build cards, but we can have a look at it. If I remember correctly, it was something like cards. It'd be something like this. So it doesn't necessarily have sub-items. And what does it say here? Log all calls in the client's deal card. Well, if they wanted it in this deal card, yes, it could be done, but I wouldn't recommend it. Why? Because this deal card is showing these. And if you have 50 bloody calls, you're going to go 50 across and it's not going to look nice. Rather, just have it like this. And it's just the way that I've designed CRMs in the past for sales. I think this setup is much more better than actually looking at deal cards. It's okay to still have cards and to see them like this, but I would rather, to be honest, I would rather have like views where you can pin or whatever you want. And this can be called like hot leads, you know, and then these can be filtered by everything that is warm or hot or whatever, or deal in, right? So it would be to hide, not hide, it would be to filter where lead status is deal in or lead status is warm. Oh, I can just add 2 there. Yeah, there you go. And then just deal with it like that, right? And then do the same for like neutrals, do the same for cold leads, do the same for like different objections and all that stuff. And then that's it. So yeah, missed call, create a callback task. Okay, that's a good one actually. So lead status, well, this is depicting the lead status per interaction. Then I would add another one called missed call, right? Right, and then it'll be like call 3, outbound, manager 1, missed call. Yeah, and that's flawed now because that's running into our 15, 60, whatever. So we need to update that. It should be when, let's just look into it now so I can show you guys. not when a sub item is created, but when, to track back, when an item is created, and the status is something. Does it have that? Do we have that? I don't think we do. Yeah. So then the next best thing would be I think this. Can we search? No, we can't. When an update is posted, send a webhook. Yeah, because we got these. We could use groups as in like an intermediary, like it would be like, say for example, new lead. How do we not have new leads already? When it's in this group, so from where you're actually, oh, we do. What am I doing? How come I can't? Because I'm in the filter. My bad. So it would be this. So technically, it would be, let's grab this again. We'll catch this hook. No, give me the key. So let's fix that problem that we had from last time. So it would be, come on, this, when an item is moved to any group, when an item moves to a group, when an item, well, that's what we're using. Okay, this one might be a little bit tricky. Okay, so either way, we're not using this. I'm thinking of a better way now. So instead of this, let's delete this, right? And it would be the case where it would come in, but it's inbound automation or inbound. So then I would create, when a sub item is one of these, fire off the webhook. So let's see if we can look at that. Oh, what happened there? When a status changes to something, send a webhook. So it will be inbound, duplicate. Actually, I think it would be inbound automation. Something like that. So inbound is like when they email or when they call. Inbound automation would, I don't even know, would it be inbound automation? Let me think. Yeah, it would be like an email. So I think maybe it's just this one, not this one, because this one technically would be physical in the sense of they would call. So someone would pick it up. Unless they have a telephone system that actually picks up missed calls, then that technically could come in, and it would technically be under this, where the system would log a missed call from a certain number, and then it can do a check with Monday to do a match with the actual client's number. So this client, we're missing a lot of details. One thing would be their phone number, and it can do, say for example, a checkup to match the number. And if a number is matched, then it can create a new sub item called missed call, where it'll be inbound automation, and then we run that deadline system. So I wouldn't say it's this. Definitely is that. So that solves the problem that we had before. So now it's not going to create it every time create a sub item, which was an issue. And that is the nature of building things, people. Now we are speeding through this, which is great. Yeah, you guys know my thoughts on this. I'm going to move forward from that. Missed call, create a callback task. Well, we've done it one way and then I've explained the other way. So missed call manager 1, how do we create a callback task reminder? So it would be, so I can set one up here as another date, or I can set one up here. I think I'm going to set it up here. So a bunch of these, again, these can be hidden so they don't appear to the client. It's just like magic. So restrict column view. And then this would be when sub-item lead status changes to missed call, then set date, missed call reminder to today, then push date, missed call reminder by, let's say 1 day, right? And then we create that. And we'll call it that. And then date arrives. (9:00 in the morning). Create. Then notify people column, the manager. Hey bro, missed call reminder for this person, etc. Done. Create. That's a simple reminder that we can set up. And that's probably done, so I'm going to close it. And then to do a demo, we can then go there, and then this will generate the next day, well, the same day, and then the next day. So, because Monday loves to lag. So today is the 21st, and now we're coming into the 22nd. And then that's going to send the reminder off. Okay, let's just ignore that. Nothing happened, nothing to see here. Okay, for the next one, for incoming calls, automatically open the client's card if the number matches. That's not a feature. That is not a feature in Monday. So I would safely assume, because this says telephony integration, perhaps this and this is actually from their app. So then this technically would be in their telephone app as well. Again, lots of confusing information, but it's okay. Not going to be deterred by it. But I would safely skip this because this is not a Monday feature. What we can do is actually send a link. Yeah, but again, it would depend on their phone app, like their software. So depends on what's available on their software. We can send them a link that goes directly to the actual Pulse ID, item ID. So say, for example, if I open this, you see how the browser changes here? I could send them an email. So let's say, for example, their telephone app or whatever sends off a webhook every time a call happens. And then within that call, it has a number. And then the number can go do a lookup in Monday, and it will find the person, find the number, extract the actual item ID, create up to here, and then dynamically put this in. and then literally just email the person or send them a notification or whatever it is. And if I just copy this and I paste this, which would be equivalent to them clicking from wherever I send it to, then we have this. It goes straight to the lead. So in terms of doing it in Monday, yes, it can be done. But that all depends on the integration platform that they're using. Messaging integration, incoming message from the client, notify the responsible manager. Again, this would be like an inbound automation where we sort of plugged it in. So we plugged it in for missed call. I guess it would be the same thing for, say, for example, like customer SMS, right? And then apply. And then we'd essentially do the same thing again and then let the manager know. But this would be an inbound automation. Again, if they're using something like GHL, this will already be inbuilt. So it would be interesting to know why they wanted Monday. Again, it's for scalability. In my eyes, it's for scalability into the future. Because even though GHL is good, ultimately, if you want to create your own custom stuff without going into like full stack world, this is where you go. So let's safely strike that out. How are we doing for time? I think I'm at the hour mark now. Message without a reply for more than X hours, send a reminder to the manager. So again, it will be the same thing as what we did with the missed call. It's just a matter of setting it up again, right? So I'm not going to show you guys this because it's literally a repeat. I just really want to wrap this episode up, to be honest. It's boring me now because there's nothing fancy to do anymore. Automatically fill in lead source when integrated or require manual selection if not automated. Lead source tracking and analytics. So this is going back to the SaaS. So really, this should have been at the top. Automatically fill in lead source field when integrated or require manual selection if not automated. Collect funnel statistics. Okay, so this one technically I can't do because I don't have access to their funnel platform. But essentially what would happen is they would obviously have a funnel platform, let's say like, again, go high levels, click funnels, whatever you want to call it, even just a normal website with a form. Regardless, you're always going to have some form of a form where it will collect data and then it will integrate into Monday, whether it's a direct integration or you use Zapier, right? So if we look at direct integrations, let's say like Facebook ads, right? No, that's only when I lead. Yeah, here, right? You got something like this. Create an item, and then you just grab the fields. Well, I think I'll have to sign in. Yeah, I don't have this. You essentially grab, like you pair the data between what's coming from Meta ads or Facebook ads and where it has to go in your Monday board, right? And if anything doesn't exist on one or either side, well, on Monday's side, you can create it to match what's coming from Meta ads. And then if there's anything you can't transfer across, then you look into Zapier to try and extract more information. So, man, I think we might be able to wrap this one up. I'm very excited. I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah, I am. I actually am bored of this and I want to move on to the next one. Automatically feel it. Yeah, so that's basically it. Funnel statistics, conversion rates, lost deals, time in stage. So again, this should be, I know we were looking at Meta ads, but whatever platform they're using, if they're actually able to carry the data across, then you can actually slot it into your Monday, right? You just create a new field and then you tell the data where to go. And then you can interpret the data however you want after that. Like you can create dashboards. Again, you can filter everything out. You know, everything will really become data driven, depending on what data you have available. Now let's look at the next one. If the deal amount exceeds a set threshold, automatically tag as VIP and notify The supervisor. Okay, that's an easy one. Let's go for another 15 and then we'll wrap this one. Hang on, before we even do that, let's see the rest. If a client returns, tag as returning client, remind the manager about the past projects. Okay, this is just a bunch of notifications and stuff. When a deal is closed won, automatically create a task to request client feedback. Easy. 30 days after project completion, send a reminder for follow-up contact. Okay, so fundamentally, if you have been watching, everything that we've done already has been done. This is the only thing that's different. So I just wanted to read the rest to see if it's actually worthwhile finishing this, or shall we wrap it up right here, right now? I think we can wrap this up. If a client returns, tag as returning client. So this is easy, right? And this manager gets a lot of bloody reminders. Essentially, in the CRM, if they are closed, no response, and all of a sudden they call in again, it's just coming to this or like something else, like a returning client, and then the manager just gets another notification, which is fine. That's easy, dude. But this is a little bit different. So if the deal exceeds a set threshold amount, again, I don't know if this is this platform or our own, but let's say it's Monday, right? And let's say it's 12 month, and let's assume that a 12 month, let's say the 12th month is like, I don't know, 50,000, right? And then we can preset this number based on the statuses that appear, right? So let's quickly show you that. So when status changes to something, then number, set number, deal month, deal month. Is it deal month? Oh, why did I write deal month? Deal value to 50,000. So let's demo that. Let's say they got the set prices. That would be it, right? And then it would be simply, again, to automatically tag as VIP and notify a supervisor. So where do I tag VIP? It would be, I mean, we could tag it here, right? Under VIP and then notify the manager, pretty much. And then we can add that to the filters. So I think it's safe to say that, you know, I've went through quite thoroughly and quite quickly through everything that we can do for this. Is it expert level, as they mentioned in the listing? I would say maybe just for where we dived into Zapier. Like more so this part. Everything else was super simple. Everything else was like very entry level. Again, if a client returns tags, yeah, that's fine. We just went through that. We can skip that. That's fine. Cancel. When a deal is closed, or what's this one called? Post sale. When a deal is closed as one, automatically create a task that requests client feedback. Yeah, that's easy, right? Again, that could go into our second board. So I know we named it onboarding. Maybe it's not the right name, but it is like a post sales thing. We can simply just tack that on as one of the tasks, right? Yeah. That's strange though, how it's after close one, they already want client feedback when they haven't even started the service yet. So it's kind of silly to say that. It really should be when the project is done, then create a task to request client feedback. But for me, that's already too like ugly feeling, because it's like we just met, so to speak. It would be something like if we've done 3 or 4 or 5 jobs, okay, then let's request client feedback. But even still, nature of my work is different. I get client feedback like instantaneously through just conversation meetings. So I don't necessarily have to give them a questionnaire, so to speak. 30 days after project completion, send a reminder for a follow-up contact. Yeah, again, project completion requires another another data point, and I'm assuming it's somewhere in here, right? So safe to say, we can actually wrap this. I'm actually quite excited that this first challenge is pretty much done. It is done. I think if we were going to recap, right, because I didn't mention that I was going to recap and see what I would change. Everything's in Strikeout, so it's so strange to read. What I would actually change. Okay, let's go through recap now, right? So when a lead is created, automatically assign this. Yeah, that's fine. This fine. That's fine. What would I actually take to the next level without a reply from the 24 hours? We kind of did that pretty nicely. If we actually look at the zaps, it's actually not that bad. Because we're running a delay function for the unattended values, that's not that bad. Okay, these are the two other ones for speedrun. So this was onboarding validation processor, split into paths. Path, what does this do? Done, no data, then update the item. I can't even remember what this does, to be bloody honest. Right, I think this is the sub items. What would I have done different? Honestly, now that I'm looking back at it, I think we did a pretty good job considering what we've done. The only way I would actually, what I would actually do, see how here we've got like a catch hook, we've got a get column, we've got a date time, we've got an update item, and then a delay. These three I could put into one step through JavaScript. So a get column can easily be done through GraphQL. And what I mean by GraphQL is, and this is what everyone should really know when they're developing on their own platforms. If you have API capabilities, then you should have API docs or a guide, right? And in this guide, let me just move me over to the right here. In this guide, you have references where, say for example, you do a get column values. So then we have column values here, where we could do a query, which technically is pretty much the same thing. And then we drop in the item ID, which we're pulling from the pulse, right? And then we can control what actually comes in. So these are like parameters that you can set up, right? And basically you do it on Monday, they have something called an API Playground. So if I go here, and then you chuck in your token, you can see that there's some stuff that I'm already playing around with. So you can actually put your code in there, hit the play button, and then it'll spit out a payload. And from that payload, you can actually control what's going on. But not only that, because we're using like JavaScript inside Zapier, so it would be code by Zapier, which we have an option of JavaScript or Python. You would chuck that all in here. You would set up all your input data, which is like the API key, the pulse ID, like stuff that you can grab from here. And then you can do the get, sorry, not from here. Let me just delete this. You can do the get, you can process the date and time inside the same code step. You can also update the item as well, because it's just a matter of stacking the next reference item here, which would be items. So we've got a query there. It would be a mutation. That's to create. We want a mutation to update, which would not be here, I think. Clear. No, it would be column values. Where, sorry if I'm scrolling too fast. There's somewhere where it's like mutations. Here, create a column. No, I want to update. Yeah, change a column value, right? Because in here, not here, in here, we're updating the item where we are what are we doing? We're doing the deadline here, right? And we're pulling it from step 3. So all in one step, we can get it, we can do the date time stuff, and we can also update the item all in one step. So instead of wasting, well, technically 2 tasks, right? Because the Zapier stuff is free, we could waste 1, right? Just for the code. And delay is free. Again, get sub items. We could also put that into the same step. So, well, unless it's supposed to be after delay, which looks like it is. So maybe we leave that there, right? And then again, these 2. So what I would update, well, mostly the things I would do now would be more efficient in terms of task usage. I think the way that we've designed everything, it's pretty spot on. Honestly, it's a pretty lean system as it is for what has been asked. So I'm actually quite happy with that. That's not actually that bad. I'm happy that we figured this out. I think that was quite important. Basically, this is all hinging off the delay setup. Because we couldn't do this on Monday. So this wraps up the challenge. I thought this would be a 5-episode run. Thank God it wasn't. I mean, it would have been great if it was, honestly. If it was 5 episodes, then we would have gotten to more stuff. But I think this covers a lot of the fundamentals of what you can do with Monday if you were to build from scratch and not use their templates and stuff. I think you guys have got an insight to how I would actually navigate, scopes, considering that, I haven't even met with the client, or we haven't even spoken once. I've just literally looked at their brief. I think for the next one, maybe I'll look for something more difficult or more detailed. I'll actually spend some time to go through it. I mean, in episode 1, I literally looked at it for like less than a minute and I'm like, let's go. So I just wanted to demonstrate what I do on a daily basis and how I navigate things. So you guys have a better idea now. But I think for the next one, I think it would be interesting if we actually got the client on board. So we'll see. I don't know yet, but we'll see. So whatever I've got planned for the next one, I don't know yet, but hey, it's going to be good. Still going to learn, still going to demo everything. I'll look for something that's obviously different from this so we don't go through the same stuff all over again, right? And that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.